Hi, welcome to the small shed and part one of my new project. See you in a minute. Now this is something that's going to take a week or two. It'll be probably done over the winter, and it's a rebuild of the internal workroom I've got in the house, which is where mainly I do my railway modelling and bits of jewellery repair, that sort of thing. It needs a fairly fundamental overhaul, so a bit like my wife's workroom, we're going to make a start, and I'll first of all just explain what the problems are and what I'm proposing to do. Okay, so as I record this, it's September 2022. And it's the start of another project which I don't need because I'm right in the middle of too many other projects, but I'm just getting out of COVID, so I'm not really fit or healthy enough to be doing anything else other than look at things and plan. So I thought I'd make a start and have a look at this workroom that we've got upstairs. Now this has been my sort of in the house workroom for about 10 years now. It used to be my son's bedroom, and then when he left home I took it over to do my railway modelling in, and I tidied it up just after I retired. I used to use it in an office when I was working with Aviva from home, and it gradually, the wardrobes got taken out that were in here, and when I retired I decided to tidy it up, went out and bought some cheap kitchen units and sort of hacked about some of the IKEA units I'd got left and put it all together, and it sort of served its purpose for a while I built the last railway layout, which is sitting in the corner here, all finished and nowhere to go, and at the end there are some billy bookcases that provide storage as well. But it was all lashed together. It's a bit of a mess. It was put together quickly. I sort of quickly slapped some paint on the walls that were before that dark red and dark blue, which didn't look very good, but clearly, as you can see from there, it was a quick rush job. And there's paint on the ceiling. There's holes in the ceiling where these IKEA units used to be hung from the ceiling. So really it wants to have the same sort of job done on it as we did with my wife's workroom, where we did a proper job with wallpaper and new units and floor to ceiling wardrobes and things like that. And I've just been spending a bit of time looking at what I've got here, because I haven't actually got that much storage when you start to look at it. These units in the corners are very difficult to get in and out of. These units down here are short front to back because there's a radiator behind them, so they're not very deep. The wall cupboards are relatively shallow because they are kitchen unit wall cupboards, and it's all just a bit of a mess really. It was done in a hurry. I had visions of running a test railway track around the top, which I sort of set it up for with MDF, but that's never really been very successful or materialised properly. So it's time to have a long hard think about it, and I've just spent about half an hour or more measuring up all the units and putting them onto a little spreadsheet, because it's interesting. The actual amount of storage I have at the moment in all of this lot is about 1.48 cubic meters. Now if I were to just go out and buy an 800 wide wardrobe for that wall there, for the corner, because there's plenty of room for a deep wardrobe, they're 600 deep, so it won't interfere with the curtains or anything like that. From floor to ceiling, 800 long, which is a bit less than that actually, goes up to about there. It'll clear the radiator, that will provide me with a huge chunk of storage, which is much more accessible because I can just get at it straight on. None of this rooting around in corners and all sorts of things like that. And similarly, just to have alongside it at high level, another cupboard about like that, wardrobe up just to a point where the door will be able to open properly, which it can't at the moment even, and that'll give me a wall cupboard and the main wardrobe itself. And as an optional extra then, an 800 unit, which is much smaller than this one, in that corner there. No wall cupboards up there, nothing in the middle, and then there would just be a purely workspace for me to work on, but with the radiator behind it, and then therefore an open front and no storage underneath along there. And if I do that, I've got more than 1.5 meters of cube of space. So actually it'll not only allow me to get to the window to open it and not have any of this stuff around here, it'll allow me to have good access in either side to cupboards without having to go into corners and route round. It'll make the room look bigger because the middle bit will go straight through. It'll give me a workbench, and it will also give me a facility to store these 2 boards that I'm building for Stourbridge Town, because they would go on to effectively racking on the wall there, one at high level and one below it, so I can actually store the layout while I'm working on it. So I think that is probably the way we're going to go. I'm going to start looking at what carcasses I need. And what we did in the other room was to actually put the main wardrobe in first and then work around it with wallpapering up to it, and because there's no point, if it's a fitted wardrobe floor to ceiling, there's no point in wallpapering behind it. Similarly, there's no point in having carpet underneath it. It just makes it difficult to fix them down. So in the other room I just put the wardrobe in first, and if I do that, it will actually empty out about 80% of the stuff in here that's just junk and I can't get to work. So I think that's the way forward. We're going to go away and have a look at the IKEA planners. Every room in this house has got IKEA furniture in it, and I'm not going to change on this. You know, that you might say, well, you can go out and make your own. Life is too short. And to be quite honest, I'm quite happy with the results we get. If we look at my wife's workroom, I quite like those units. The artificial oak stuff is not as good as in our bedroom, where it's proper oak veneer, but this is perfectly adequate for a workroom, and it's clean and light and tidy. I'll probably be going for like a white shaker in the workroom, but our bedroom, again, it's all IKEA units that I put in years ago, and they just go round. That's the standard pack stuff, and that's all the Malm that I did a lot of work with. So that's pretty much all IKEA. So that's 3 out of the 4 have already got stuff in, and in the guest room again, hence all my leftover stuff. I've got the IKEA stuff that I did there, that is all the cupboards under the sloping bit, and again this overhead unit and wardrobe sort of arrangement I'm proposing now, and it really is good for making up space, and then you can just have a desk with a knee space underneath it. Again, you can see we're still cluttered up with rubbish, but most of that stuff to go to charity shops and jumble, I think. The other benefit of putting the wardrobe in first is that, as I said, most of the stuff from here will go straight into the wardrobe, which will minimise the disruption, because, as I'm sure you know, every time you start and take stuff out of one room to do a job on it, you end up just disrupting the rest of the house, because you put bits here and bits there, and the whole house becomes turned upside down. Whereas if I can just get the wardrobe in, cut the carpet out, bang it in the corner, and then worry about stripping wallpaper and that round it afterwards, because the stuff will be away in the dry, out the dust, and safe in there. At the back end I'll probably repeat what I've already got, only with the white billy stuff rather than the beech that we had originally, because again you're limited with depth by where the window is, so I can't come out much further this way without using just basically the billy bookcases that I knocked around, and that left me with a great big storage bin behind the head of the bed. But again, you can't really get at it very well. I can't move the bed because it's that tight in here that I can't get the bed out very well. There's a small make-up bed underneath this one that I have a job to get out when the grandchildren come. So again, making that one unit 800 long here will give me that little bit of room to move this bed around a bit more. So it should make the whole thing a lot more workable. And of course the other thing it'll do is spur me on to getting the place sorted out, because it's, you know, there are broken disk drives here that they've had information recovered off them. They don't work, so I might as well just junk them, but they're just lying around all the while. Old projects. I've got all these nice units that I got from Poland that are getting so that I can't use them because they're stacked 2 and 3 deep. So again, I could make a decent back to the bench unit here with all these things on it. That'll mean I can always get at my tools and my soldering station and stuff like that. So that's the plan. We'll go off and do what we can, and no doubt come back in a few months' time. Okay, so that's got the set the ground rules, if you like. Time now to go off and have a study of IKEA catalogues and go and probably have a day out and have a walk around IKEA and see what's available in the way of fittings to go in the cupboards and things like that. But I think it'll be a vast improvement when I get started on that. So it won't be too long, I don't think, until we make a start on that. Hopefully we'll be doing something different next week, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye!